Today, I'm going to read you a book about cranes. This is the last week we will be talking about birds. Next week, we're going to start talking about amphibians. The name of this book is Here Come the Cranes. After I read you this book, we're going to talk about how a crane is different from an owl. And I read you an owl book last week. So as I'm reading you this book, I want you to be thinking about how cranes are different from owls and also how they're the same. Here come the cranes. Here's the table of contents, and I'm going to go over that with you. Remember, the table of contents gives you an overview, a sneak peek of what we're going to read about today. Flying north to nest, page 4. Eat up, page 6. First rest, then dance. Page 10. There and back, page 14. Glossary, page 16. The heading, the title of this page says Flying North to Nest. Sandhill cranes spend the winter in warm areas in the south. They migrate north in the spring. They go north to make nests, lay eggs, and raise chickens. So on this page, there were two words that were bolded, darker than the rest. The word cranes, which is the animal, the bird, and migrate. So I'm going to go to the glossary, and I'm going to see what cranes and migrate mean. So I'm going to go until I see the glossary at the end. So here we go, cranes. These are wading birds with long necks and long legs. Migrate, it says that they migrate. So migrate means to move from one habitat or region to another at a certain time of the year. So they move from one area of where they're living or a region from where they're living to another. So let's go back to page 4. Now that we know what that means, now we'll understand what the author meant when he says that they migrate. So the picture says where sandhill cranes live, and that's a type of crane. The orange shows where they live in the summer. In the summer, they're in Canada. And then the green shows the migration area, which is some of it's in Canada and some of it is in the United States. Same with some in the summer area, the cranes are in the United States during that time. Then any area on that map that you see the color yellow, that's where they go during the winter. So I see a big part of Texas. They go to Texas in the winter time. I also see some of California in the United States, Mexico. I see some of Florida. And then anywhere that's purple is where they are all year round. Cranes fly north in flocks. Flocks is bolded. So that means you can go to back to the glossary if you don't know what that means. So they fly in groups. They fly many miles each day. So the words on this picture say, sandhill cranes travel about 200 to 300 miles each day when migrating. Eat up. So on this page, the author's going to talk to you about them eating up. The cranes get hungry and tired. They need a place to eat and rest. They know just where to go. So on the picture, it says wonderful wings. A sandhill crane's wings reach over 6 feet. A crane can soar on the wind without flapping its wings. It looks as if it's floating in the sky. The sky grows dark over Nebraska. Nebraska is in the United States. It's not a storm, it's the sandhill cranes. So the words on the picture say, during migration, a single flock of sandhill cranes may have thousands of birds. So the flock, the group of those could have 1,000. Sandhill cranes stop at a river. The river offers water, food, and shelter. So what does shelter mean? If the river offers them that, it gives them that. So let's go to the glossary and look for shelter. That starts with SH, the sh sound. Glossary, shelter. A place that gives protection from bad weather or danger. So that is what shelter does. An area where they can get protected. So here's where we were. I'm going to go to the picture and read what it says on the picture. People come to the river in Nebraska every year to see sandhill cranes migrate. So it's important that if you see a picture with some words on it, the caption, that you read it, because it'll give you even more information. The cranes eat corn from nearby farm fields. They also eat insects, snails, and frogs. A sandhill crane's long beaks help it pick out seeds and insects on the ground. First rest, then dance. So that was the title, the heading. At night, the cranes sleep in the river. They stand in the water on their long legs. Predators cannot reach them there. So that's their safe area to protect themselves, by being in the river. The picture says sandhill cranes mainly live in marshes and rivers. A crane sleeps safely in the river. And look how the author is showing you one of the cranes asleep in the river. The cranes stay at the river for about 3 weeks. They eat and grow strong. They also dance with each other. The picture says, stay away. A sandhill crane's long legs make good weapons. The cranes use them to kick attackers that get too close. Crane dances are a beautiful sight. The crane stretches their wings. They bow their heads and they jump high in the air. The picture says sandhill cranes dance the most during mating season. Sandhill cranes dance to find a mate. Most crane mates will stay together for life. It says a pair of sandhill cranes may sing to each other when they mate. The heading of this page says, there and back again. It is time to leave the river. The sandhill cranes fly north. Their calls can be heard for miles. Crane mates build a nest when they reach the north. The mates will raise their chicks together. The words on this picture say sandhill crane mates build a nest on the ground made of plants. So you can kind of see the nest that the crane's making. The cranes will return to Nebraska in the fall. They will bring their chicks with them. They will stop again to rest and feed. Then they will fly back to the warm waters in the south. This picture says sandhill cranes can fly as high as 2 miles in the sky. And that's the end of the book. So now you're going to watch another video where we're going to talk about what we learned in our crane video, and then we're going to go back and review what we learned in our owl book, and then we're going to talk about how cranes and owls are the same and different.